Hi and welcome to the video. My name is Nidhi. I'm an RP developer and UiPath most valuable professional. In this video, we are going to see how to extract text from an image using Microsoft Azure Computer Vision OCR. So things we are going to learn in this video is how to create computer vision resource in Microsoft Azure Portal and how to create endpoints and API key for this particular resource. Then we are going to create a simple workflow in UiPath Studio that will read an image file, connect with the Computer Vision OCR engine from Microsoft Azure, extract the text from that particular image and write it to a text file. Then we'll also see how to improve the result of this OCR engine. So before we actually jump into the demo, let's quickly look at the documentation from UiPath as well as Microsoft. So if you look at the activities guide from UiPath, there's an activity called Microsoft Azure Computer Vision OCR. And this comes under the UiPath core activities package. So you do not have to explicitly install any package in UiPath Studio to use this in your automation workflow. And now let's look at the description of this activity. Extracts a string and its information from an indicated UI element or image. So in this demo, we are trying to extract the string information from an image file by using the Microsoft Azure Computer Vision OCR engine. And now this activity can be used with other OCR activities, which are like click, hover, double click, and all of these. Now let's look at the configuration section of this activity. In the input part, we will need an image file. So we'll also see how to load an image file in UiPath Studio and create an image variable out of it. In the logon section, if you see, we will need two parameters, which is API key and the endpoint, to connect with the Microsoft Azure Computer Vision service. So we'll also see how to create these parameters in Azure Portal. Then these are the additional options in the activity. Now, if you come down at the output section, you have two types of output. One is the result, which extracts the word along with their on-screen position. And the other one is the text part of the image, which we are interested in. So it will give you the result in the form of a string variable. So we'll print this result into a text file. Then at the end, we'll also see how to improve the result of this OCR engine by trying out some more additional features. Now let's look at the documentation from the Microsoft as well. So under the product section of Azure and in AI and machine learning category, if you come down, there's something called as computer vision. So if you click on this, there is more detailed information about the service. It comes under the cognitive service section, and this is an AI service that analyzes content in images and video. So in this demo again, we are only limiting to images, and the best part is no machine learning expertise is required. Now, what are the features of this service? The first one is the text extraction or the OCR. This is what we are going to see in the video today. Extract printed and handwritten text from image and document with mixed languages and writing styles, right? So this is what we are going to try out. We will only use the screenshot or any image file, which you can see a printed one. And then the language we are trying is only English in the demo, but we will try out more languages in the future videos as well. The other features is the image understanding and the spatial analysis and many more. Let's now come down and read more documentation. So this is more detailed documentation of all the features that the computer vision service in the Azure Portal gives you. And on the left, the first feature is the OCR, which we are interested in. The other ones is what we are going to check in the upcoming videos. And now let's get started with the OCR, how to configure this OCR engine in your application. So we'll use the C# section. Let's stick to this because we are going to use the UiPath Studio. Now, these are the steps that we have to follow if we want to consume this OCR engine service in our application. The first prerequisite is we'll need the Azure subscription. So make sure you have a Azure subscription. I already have. And this is how your Azure Portal homepage looks like. The next thing is the Visual Studio. So for that, we are using UiPath Studio. This is where we are going to consume this OCR engine service. And then we have, once you have the Azure subscription, create a computer vision resource, right, in the Azure portal to get your key and the endpoints. So this is what we saw in the UiPath documentation. In the logon section, we will need API key and endpoints to connect with this Azure service, which is the computer vision service, right? So let's create this in Azure portal and generate these parameters. So let's go to more services, and under the AI and machine learning category, you will see computer vision resource, right? Just click on this and you will see a create button right here, or you can also use this one. So once you click on this create button, you just need to fill the mandatory fields here to create this resource. Now the resource group is something like a folder or a directory in your computer where you club all your related files and put them in that folder, right? So this is something similar in Azure Portal. If you want to club all your related resources and group them under a particular resource group, you can create one and put all of them under one, right? So let me see if I already have something existing. No, I don't have. So let's create one and let's call it as intelligent automation. And we have the green, press OK. Now again, check the other details, instance details, and give a name to your resource. I'll give it at Microsoft Computer Vision in UiPath. Let's choose the pricing tier. So we have two options. The first one is free one, which is 20 calls per minute and 5k calls per month. So since this is just a demo and we will not have so much of traffic, we will use the free one. And the other one is, you can see, 10 calls per second. And then when you come down, there is one acknowledgement box. So make sure you check this and click on review plus create. If all your information is correct, it will run the validation and it will create a computer vision resource under the cognitive services, which you can see. So the validation has passed, and now let's click on the create button. The deployment has started, and once the deployment has completed, you will see a computer vision resource generated for you. Your deployment is complete, and now this resource is ready to use. Now you can see this go to resource button. Click on this and it will take you to the more detailed options and the settings for this resource. This is the overview. What is the resource group? So we moved this resource into an intelligent automation group, right? And then the subscription model, the ID and the API type, the pricing tier and the endpoint, right? This is what we need in the activity of UiPath to use. And now we also need the API key. To get that, you have something keys and endpoint at the left, this left section of this resource. So if you click on this, you'll see even more details of the keys and the endpoints. Now you may be confused that you have two keys to be used, but we only use one single key in the application. You can read the description right here. These keys are used to access your cognitive service API. Do not share your keys, keep them confidential, save it in some credential vault. So either you can save them in the Azure Key Vault, or you can also use the orchestrator, UiPath orchestrator, to save them safely. Now, we also recommend generating these keys regularly. Only one key is necessary to make an API call, right? So do not get confused if you see two keys right here. When generating the first key, you can use the second key for continued access to the service. And this is the endpoint and this is the key. So we are done with creating the logon information for this activity, right? And if we go to the documentation from Microsoft as well, you will need the key and the endpoint from the resource you create to connect your application to the computer vision service. We have done this. You'll paste these in the code. Yes, we will paste this in the UiPath Studio code. You can use the free pricing tier, which is F0, to try the service and upgrade later to the paid tier, right? So we only use the free one. So the configuration is done as per the Microsoft documentation and the UiPath as well. Now let's jump to UiPath Studio and create a workflow. So I've opened the UiPath Studio and let's create a single process. Name it as Microsoft Computer Vision OCR and click Create button. So we have the workflow ready. Let's open the main file. And so now we will need the image from where we want to read the text. So let's read this web page. We'll take the screenshot of this page and save it as an image in the workflow and then try to read if the text from the image has been extracted correctly or not, and if not, how to improve the results. So let me first take the screenshot. So let's use this part of this page and let me save it on the project somewhere. Go to the project folder and let's create a new folder called image. And let's save this screenshot in this path. Okay. Screenshot. So what I've done is I've taken this screenshot of the web page and I'm saving this image file, which is the PNG format, in the automation workflow project folder itself. So let's rename this and save it. This should have been saved now. Now if you go to the project folder and refresh it, in the image folder you have this image right here. Now we want to read this image, and as per the documentation, to use this activity we will need an image variable, right? So let's create this image variable first. For that we'll use an activity called load image and drag it to your workflow. The file is the image file that we have to give in the input. So this is the image file, and if you go to properties, this will create a variable which is of type image, right? And let's create it. And we have created this variable and the variable type is image. So we are done. Now we are all good to use this activity, Microsoft Azure Computer Vision. Let's go back to Studio, go to Activities section and type Microsoft Azure Computer Vision. Now let's drag it after the load image and fill all the parameters required. So the image we already have, the screenshot image. So this is the image from where we want to read or extract the text. The API key and endpoint is what we are going to get from the Azure portal. So let's go back to the portal. And this is the endpoint. I'll copy this and go back here. Put it inside double quotes because it supports string. And then also get the key. Any key will work here. Again, put it inside double quotes and paste it. I'm just copy pasting directly because of just a demo purpose, but make sure you save them in some credential vaults. And now we have to read we also have to save the result in a string variable. So I'll just create a variable. So the result from this image or whatever the text extracted from this image will be saved in this string variable. If you go to the variable section, you can see the type is string. And now let's write this result into a text file. So we'll use an activity called write text file and drag it after the Azure Computer Vision. The text we want to write is extracted text, and let's give the file name okay, too big for a file name, but let's keep it extracted text from image.txt. So we are all good. Everything is done. We first loaded the image or read the image and created a image variable to be used in the Microsoft Azure Computer Vision activity. And then we configured the API key and the endpoint, which we created in Azure Portal. And then we are saving the result in a string variable. And this string result is what we are typing in a text file. So let's run this workflow and see the result. So this is the web page which we saved as an image. Okay, the workflow has started. And it completed successfully. Now let's go to the project folder, refresh it. We got the image file. And now let's compare it with the image. Okay. And let's open the image as well. Okay, so this is the image and this is the result. So what we can see is Microsoft Azure Computer Vision is read correctly, but in the second line there is some inaccuracy. UiPath core is read properly, activities is also, but Microsoft Computer Vision is not read accurately again. And then we have some problem in this UI element. It did not recognized UI. And then we have some problem in the get OCR text. So get OCR is correct, but it could not recognize this text. Rest everything seems to be good. Properties, the display of the name of the activity, input image, the image you want to process. This field supports only image variables. Yeah, everything is correct. We have 4 areas where it could not extract the characters accurately, which is this section. I guess it is because of the formatting. And then the UI element, because it could be a link or something. And then also this text. Let's close this and see how to improve this result. Now if you go back to the UiPath documentation and if you come down, you will see something in the options section, which is UseReadAPI. It says, if selected, the activity uses the new Azure Computer Vision API 2.0 with handwriting recognition capabilities. Although we are not trying to read a handwritten image or document, but let's try it out if this works in our case. But if it is not selected, it uses the standard Azure Computer Vision API for printed text. So this is what we used because this was not selected, and the default is false. So let's try this one out if that works in our case. So this is the activity, and we'll check this, and I'll run the workflow again. The execution has started and completed as well. Again, we go to the project section and refresh it. This is the image, and now this is the result we have. This seems to be accurate. We have the first correct. And now the areas where we had the problem earlier, right? UiPath core activities, Microsoft Azure Computer Vision. This wasn't read accurately last time, and now you can see this is perfect this time. The UI element is read now again correctly. And then the get OCR text was the another problem, and this is also extracted correctly. And the all other things seems to be perfectly fine. So now you can see how we have received the 100% accuracy with that particular option in the activity. It's all about hit and trial though, but yeah, this is how you can use the cognitive services from Azure, which is called Computer Vision, and use it to extract the text from an image file or the document, which could be printed or the handwritten. So I'll try to explore these cognitive services more in the upcoming videos. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching.